How well do the departments at parks work together? Does security get along with maintenance? Do they get along with park operations? And what about them attractions people? Here's a little look at the departments working behind the scenes together, as well as a little look at the progress on my new studio, which you can see I'm not in. So I'm here at my new house, looking out the woods, enjoying it. Notice I'm not in my studio yet. I'll give you a little bit of an update and a look at that in just a bit. It will be coming soon, but there's a story there. But did want to talk about a long time question I've had, and a couple people have asked about how the different departments work together at the parks. Of course, I worked photography and entertainment at one. I worked as rides and attractions at the other two. And all of those work with different groups of people, different departments in different ways. So at Busch Gardens, I was a ride operator with Rhino Rally. Did the coaster a little bit. We were really kind of in our own little world, our own corner of the park. And outside of seeing maintenance guys occasionally, in particular on the water portion at Rhino Rally, which didn't always work the way it should. Thanks, Vacoma. Or occasionally, because we worked with wild animals, we would see the zookeepers. But we would see them, but we didn't necessarily interact a whole lot. We needed them to be able to do our stuff, and we'd have to wait for clearance from them. But we really didn't do very much. Our manager, our supervisor, the lead, whatever title you want to give them, they would work with them a little bit more, especially if there was a breakdown or a stoppage or something like that. So there would be some interactions there and with security. But for the most part, as ride operators on Rhino Rally, we were kind of on our own. Really didn't interact a whole lot with much of anybody else, to be honest. The cafeteria people, when we had lunch, was probably the biggest interactions we had. Rhino Rally was a weird case. We joked that we were the redheaded stepchild of the park because we really didn't do anything with anybody except ourselves. So it was different. Disney was another complete situation. We were photographers, obviously. So there were different times that we would work with different people in different departments. Photography, the Photopass group, was its own division when I was there, and it eventually merged into entertainment. But we worked with different groups in different places. Inside the stores where we sold the pictures of what we called the view, they were actually inside regular shops, and we would have to work with merchandise because we weren't allowed to touch money or cash registers, but they were. So all of our sales had to go to merchandise people. So we did get to work with the merch people who were assigned to our stores. That was kind of neat. We did get to know them a little bit. The other ones that we really worked with, most of us knew the entertainment people because we worked with the characters and the character attendants. There was a lot of relationships and friendships built there. We got to know their leads. And like I said, eventually we got merged in with entertainment because we worked so much with them and so closely. So we had great relationships there. A lot of my friends at Disney were entertainment people, characters and performers and other people like that we would see on a regular basis. So that was a very close relationship. And we actually we trained together. We worked on our systems together. We did a number of things together. So that was a very close deal. We got to know them. They got to know us. Didn't mean we got special perks. I know there's always, did you get to ride stuff? We really did not know the ride operators. We didn't know maintenance because we didn't deal with them at all. We didn't know most of the other departments in that regard. It was entertainment. It was characters. Well, there was one other department that some of us got to know a bit. And that was what I would call the street people. You would see the street performers at Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom. We did get to know them. They were more entertainment characters that way. But there were also those who worked the streets for parades, for special events. We would get to know some of them at times, depending upon what was happening, how often we were out. And me as a Magical Moments photographer, because I would work the grand marshals and the opening family, the first family of the day, various things like that where we had special events, I did get to know some of the people who worked out of guest relations who helped head that up. Most photographers didn't, but I did know several of them pretty well and worked alongside, and they would tell me, hey, we need you to do this, and I'd help them do that. And I could also say, hey guys, is it possible to set this photograph up? So that was a good relationship, but it was only a handful of us that got to do that. Other departments at Disney, we really didn't see. So no, I really didn't know very many ride operators. I didn't know security. We actually had a permission deal that if we saw somebody doing something wrong, we were actually encouraged to shoot pictures of that so we could give it to security for them to use. I never actually did that. Never saw anything. So I really didn't work with security very much outside of waving hi, and that was about it. Or on my way in and out of the park, because you had to go past security on your way in. Yes, even as an employee, you had to go through security. Ride operators really didn't. Test track a little bit, but we still really didn't get to know them. No, never got to know anybody well enough to skip the lines. Didn't happen, and I don't think they did that for their own cast members either. Food and drink, didn't really get to know any of them. So really the place that I worked closest with other departments was Silver Dollar City. One, because it was smaller. It was much easier to get to know everybody and get to know the different departments. But with the train in particular, we really had three groups of people. We called it our triangle that worked together very closely to make sure the train ran. One was attractions, operations. That was us robbers, conductors, the ones who made sure everything was flowing smooth, the ones who got the people on the train, did the show, got the people back. So we were the attractions people. You also had the maintenance department, which our engineers were actually our maintenance guys. So when you're looking and going, well, didn't the conductor drive the train? No, that was the maintenance guys. That's the engineers. We took care of the cargo. They took care of the engine. But close, side by side, we were in and out of each other's areas all the time because of what we did. Good friendships. We got to know each other very, very well. And if you saw the behind the scenes on the preparation of the train video, you got to see that. Those are some of the guys I used to work with. The one other group that we worked with a lot was actually safety. Safety was in charge of making sure that everything worked. We had to clear everything with safety. So did maintenance. So when we started the day, our day would actually start with, hey, maintenance is clear, we're clear, and we both notified safety, we're clear, and we get an okay, and then we would go. Anytime there was an incident, all three of us had to agree that it was safe to operate again. So we did work with safety quite a bit. The security was technically a part of safety, but we didn't really work with them. So was first aid, and we did work with first aid some. We got to know them because we all had to be CPR trained. We had to pick up our AED every morning from first aid, so we got to know the first aid people. And then again, because the park was small, we really got to know each other from all the different departments. We'd eat together, we'd play together, we'd go out and see shows together afterwards. So it was really nice that way that all the departments really kind of got to know each other. So Silver Dollar City, yes, the departments really worked closely together. Disney, some. Busch, we didn't so much. So that's a little look at that. Let me give you a little look at the studio and what's going on, why I'm not in it, and why I'm walking around on my back patio while my nephews and niece are all out here going, he's weird. So let me show you the studio here and what's going on. Ugh. Squeeze through my door. This is the studio, or it will be. And you may notice that there's a little issue with the wall there and the floor. So what we have learned as we started to move in is that what we thought was a small leak, and it's actually just about dried out now, turns into a bigger issue, which I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but you might notice that that wall is curving just a little bit. Then that'll help you see it with the crack. And this is something our inspector did not notice, even though it was pretty obvious. So basically what that means is we have a little bit of a foundation issue. So we have to get inspectors to come in. We've got to get estimates to figure out what exactly is going on, if this is just a curve or if this is the wall starting to bow, and repairs and fun stuff like that. So until all of this is done, I can't get that done. And that is the ultimate plan, is to have that as the working studio. So this kind of gives you a little bit of a look that in future videos you will hear some weird buzzes with some of my audio, because I'm actually set up through that door and around a corner in the unfinished part of the basement. At least until we can get this all done. So it's going to be a little interesting. It's going to be a work in progress, but wanted to let you take a look and get a quick see, so that way you had an idea. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the look at the behind the scenes with the departments, as well as my behind the scenes. Let me know if you have any questions, comments. Did I miss something? Did you not understand something? I love to hear your feedback. Please let me know. Thank you so much too to my patrons, my financial supporters. Their financial support is going to help make this possible. We've got some cool plans with it. That big plasma TV, that may be a part of it. That was actually something that was left behind. Hey, I may be able to use that. I got some ideas. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it. Thank you to my patrons for helping make all this possible. Thank you too for watching. You also help, and I couldn't do this without you. And hey, neither could she. Yeah, that's Ginger. She says thanks. God bless. So I'm sitting here outside my new home, not quite in the studio. Doors open. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.